The auction hall on Station Kepler 7 smelled like oil and desperation. Marcus Chen stood at the back of the crowd, his hands shoved deep in his jacket pockets. Around him, alien shipbrokers clicked, hissed, and growled at each other in a dozen different languages. Above them, holographic displays showed rotating images of ships up for sale. Most of the ships looked decent. Some were even beautiful, but Marcus wasn't interested in those. He couldn't afford them. 6 months ago, he had money. 6 months ago, he had a reputation. Now he had 500 credits to his name and a growing list of people who wanted him dead. Next item, the auctioneer announced. She was Valorian, tall and insect-like, with 4 arms and eyes that glowed like amber. Lot 47. Military cruiser, Valorian make, 60 years old. The name on the side was barely visible, VMS Calthnex. What's the translation? Someone shouted from the crowd. The auctioneer's mandibles clicked together. In human terms, it might have been a smile. In your tongue, it means dead weight. Marcus didn't laugh. He studied the ship carefully. It was big, maybe 200 meters long, old military design. Those ships had been built to last. Starting bid 50,000 credits, the auctioneer said. Silence. No one raised their hand. No one made a sound. 40,000, the auctioneer tried. More silence. A Graken trader near the front actually turned away, waving one of his 6 arms dismissively. This ship has history, the auctioneer said, her voice taking on a desperate edge. Military-grade hull, weapons systems. Cargo capacity. The death priests have marked it. Every head turned toward him, the auctioneer's glowing eyes focused on his face. You bid 10,000. The merchant in robes turned to look at Marcus, his head tilting in a way that suggested pity. Foolish human, your death chant will be sung poorly. She let out a long, hissing sigh. Sold, 500 credits, to the human with a death wish. 2 hours later, Marcus stood in the docking bay, staring up at his new ship. Up close, it looked even worse. The hull was covered in strange scratches, long gouges that ran in parallel lines. They weren't from weapons fire. They looked almost deliberate, like someone had taken a metal tool and scraped away at the surface over and over again. The docking bay supervisor, a 4-eyed Telkin with gray skin, handed Marcus a data pad. Sign here. Ship is yours. Station takes no responsibility for accidents, deaths, or supernatural occurrences. The Telkin's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. You bought the dead weight. Either you're very brave or very stupid. The supervisor walked away quickly, glancing back over his shoulder like he expected the ship to explode. Marcus approached the airlock. It opened with a grinding sound that made him wince. The interior was dark. He pulled out a flashlight and stepped inside. The air was cold. His breath came out in small clouds. Life support was running on minimal power. The walls were bare metal, and like the outside, they were covered in scratches. But these scratches were different. Marcus knelt down, running his fingers over them. Something had been written here once. Text, symbols, all of it had been carefully, methodically scraped away. What were you hiding? Marcus whispered to the empty ship. He moved deeper inside, following the corridor toward the bridge. The ship was bigger on the inside than he expected. Crew quarters lined both sides of the main corridor. Most of the doors were open. Inside, he found empty bunks, overturned furniture, and more scratches on the walls. The bridge was a disaster. Control panels hung loose from their mountings. Wires dangled from the ceiling. The main view screen was cracked down the middle. Marcus sat in the captain's chair, it groaned under his weight, and tried to power up the ship's computer. Nothing happened. He tried again. A few lights flickered on the console, then died. Come on, Marcus muttered. He pulled open an access panel and started checking connections. After 10 minutes of work, he managed to get partial power to the main computer. The screen lit up with Valorian text. Marcus pulled out his translator device and held it up to the screen. The text shifted, reformatting into English. System error. AI core offline, navigation LOGS corrupted, black box inaccessible. Of course they are, Marcus said. He leaned back in the chair and stared at the ceiling. Maybe the Telkin was right. Maybe he was very stupid. A sound made him freeze. It was faint, coming from somewhere deep in the ship. A scraping sound, metal on metal. It stopped, then started again. Then stopped. Marcus slowly stood up. He pulled a plasma cutter from his tool belt, not much of a weapon, but better than nothing. He moved quietly back into the corridor, following the sound. It was coming from below, from the cargo bay. He found the stairs and descended carefully, one step at a time. The cargo bay was massive, empty except for a few scattered crates. At the far end, built into the wall, was a large vault door. It was sealed tight, covered in Valorian security markings. The scraping sound came again. This time Marcus was sure. It was coming from inside the vault. He approached slowly, his heart pounding. The vault had a control panel, but like everything else on the ship, it was dead. He tried his access codes. Nothing. He tried emergency overrides. Nothing. "Hello," Marcus called out. "Is someone in there?" Tap, tap, pause, tap, 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 pause. Marcus's blood ran cold. He knew that pattern. Every human knew that pattern. SOS. Someone was inside the vault, someone alive, someone human. "Hold on," Marcus said, his voice louder now. "I'm going to get you out." The reactor was 3 levels down at the very bottom of the ship. As he turned to leave the bridge, something flickered on the edge of the view screen. Marcus stopped. He looked closer. Text was scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Valorian text. His translator caught it. From the ventilation shaft in the ceiling. He looked up slowly. The metal grate was moving. Something was pushing against it from inside. Something that fit in the narrow space. Something that could crawl through the ship's ventilation system. The grate fell to the floor with a loud clang. Marcus raised his plasma cutter and aimed at the dark opening. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then a hand reached out of the darkness. A human hand, filthy and scarred with broken fingernails. A face followed. A woman's face, pale and gaunt, with hollow eyes that stared at Marcus with an expression he couldn't read. "Fear, hope, madness, please," the woman whispered, her voice cracked and dry. "Please don't let them take us back." The dead weight wasn't empty after all. Marcus caught the woman before her head hit the metal floor. She was light, too light, like she weighed almost nothing. Her clothes were rags, torn and stained. Her skin was covered in old scars and fresh bruises. "Hey, stay with me," Marcus said, checking her pulse. It was weak but steady. "You're safe now. I'm human. I'm not going to hurt you." She stared at Marcus and tears began rolling down her cheeks. "Human?" she whispered. "Really human?" Scraping, shuffling, the sound of people moving through tight spaces. Marcus looked up and saw more hands reaching out of the opening, more faces appearing in the darkness. 5 more people dropped down from the vent, one after another, all human. All in the same terrible condition as the woman. 3 men, 2 women. They stared at Marcus like he was a ghost. One of the men lunged forward suddenly, grabbing Marcus by the throat. He was stronger than he looked. His eyes were wild. "Who are you?" the man shouted. "Who sent you? Is this a trick? Some kind of spy?" With his last bit of air, he managed to speak. "Colony ship, Persephone, lost 47 years ago, crew of 200, never found. The great mystery, where did the Persephone go? I was the chief engineer on the Persephone. These are David, Chen, Rita, Marcus, and Yuki. We've been hiding for a long time." "As what?" "By year 10, only us 6. But they never treated us like people. When it came, we took it. You did what you had to do. We scratched away all the Valorian writing so no one could read the logs. We made ourselves ghosts. We thought if we waited long enough, maybe humanity would find us. Maybe things would change. We have 40 star systems, treaties with 12 alien species. We have a military, a real one. We're not prey anymore. None of us are. After a few minutes, Sarah wiped her eyes and stood up. Marcus Chen, that's your name. I needed to disappear for a while. Coalition Navy. 3 years as a pilot, 2 years as a lieutenant. Now I'm nobody. The view screen on the bridge, visible through the open door, suddenly came to life. What's happening? Yuki shouted over the noise. Marcus ran to the bridge, the others following close behind. He looked at the screen and felt his stomach drop. 4 ships were on the sensors. Big ones, military design, Valorian. A transmission came through, audio only. The voice spoke in Valorian, but Marcus's translator converted it to English. Attention, stolen vessel. We have tracked you for many cycles. We know what you carry. Return our property and the stolen cruiser. You have 1 cycle to comply. If you refuse, we will board and take what is ours by force. How long is 1 cycle? We'd never make it to Coalition space before they caught us. It was a strange smile, cold and calculated. The weapons aren't dead, Marcus. We made them look dead. We've been planning this for 47 years. We knew they might find us someday. We can do better than fix them, Sarah said. She pulled up a schematic on the console. We upgraded them, quietly, carefully. The Valorians think this ship is broken. They think we're helpless. They're wrong. I was a weapons specialist in the Persephone. I haven't forgotten how to aim. These people had survived slavery, escaped impossible odds, and hidden for nearly 5 decades. They weren't victims anymore. All right, Marcus said. Let's show these bastards what happens when you make humans angry. Lines of code scrolled across the screen as hidden systems came online. Weapons that had looked destroyed suddenly appeared on the tactical display. We have 1 advantage, Sarah said. They think we're weak. They think we're broken. They think we're property. We've got enough for 1 good fight. After that, we're out. When he spoke, he used perfect Valorian, letting the words roll off his tongue with the formal cadence of a warrior's challenge. You came for your property. Come and take it. But know this, we are human. We do not break. We do not bow. We do not forgive. You wanted slaves. You made soldiers instead. Come and face what you created. The battle was about to begin. The Valorian ships moved closer, spreading out in a hunting formation. Marcus recognized the pattern from his Navy training. They were trying to surround the dead weight, cut off any escape routes. They think we'll run, Marcus said, studying the tactical display. That's what prey does. I can push it to 60, but that's the limit without a full overhaul. The railgun is our best weapon, but it takes 30 seconds to charge between shots. 4 enemy ships against 1 damaged cruiser. Even with Sarah's upgrades, they were outgunned and outmatched. But they had one thing the Valorians didn't expect: experience in survival. Yuki, can you fly this thing? Marcus asked. The young woman sat in the pilot's chair, her hands on the controls. I've been dreaming about flying for 47 years. I'm ready. 300 kilometers to port. But not the way they expect. Marcus pointed to the tactical display. Look at their ships, big, heavy, built for open space combat. Those things can't maneuver well in tight spaces. In that asteroid field, size becomes a disadvantage. Marcus looked around at the group. We use the rocks as cover. We hit them when they can't hit back. We make them come to us on our terms. Like the old stories from Earth. After that, we will disable your ship and board. Resist, and you will be terminated. They'll believe what they want to believe, Sarah said. They think this ship is broken. They think we're desperate. Let them think it. David, prepare the weapons, but keep them powered down until I give the signal. Chen, route all available power to front shields. Rita, I need you to monitor their communications. Any information helps. Fast as you can without making it obvious we're running. They'd outsmarted their captors, stolen a military ship, and hidden for nearly half a century. They were survivors, and survivors knew how to fight. Marcus, Rita called out, I'm picking up their command channel. They're coordinating attack vectors. Marcus could make out details now: weapon ports, sensor arrays, shield generators. Reactor at 55%, Sarah announced, pushing to 60 now. Make it look like we're drifting. They want us alive. Yuki navigated between them smoothly. They're following us in, Chen reported. All 4 ships entering the field. The asteroids grew thicker around them. The Valorian ships followed, but Marcus noticed they were moving more slowly now, more carefully. They're having trouble with navigation, Rita said. I can hear their pilots complaining about the sensor interference. Let them get frustrated. Marcus watched the tactical display. The enemy ships were spreading out, trying to maintain their formation. Sarah, status on weapons. One of them clipped an asteroid and had to adjust course. Another nearly collided with its wingmate. They're not used to fighting in close quarters, Chen observed. No, they're not. Marcus watched the lead ship approach. It was bigger than the others, probably the commander's vessel. Yuki, bring us around that large asteroid, the one at heading 270. They've lost visual contact, Rita said. They're scanning for us. 20 seconds. Weapons bristled along its sides. 10 seconds on railgun, David counted down. The command ship's weapons began to glow, charging for a shot. 5 seconds. We're going over the asteroid, not around it. A streak of superheated metal shot across space, moving too fast for the Valorian ship to dodge. It punched through their shields like they weren't there and slammed into the hull. Hit, David shouted. Direct hit on their reactor. 3 to go. They're saying 2 hours. Scared people make mistakes. They will if they think we're damaged, Sarah said with a sly smile. Marcus, give me 2 minutes. I can make this ship look like it's falling apart. Suddenly, the lights on the bridge flickered. Small explosions erupted from the dead weight's hull, carefully controlled venting that looked like damage. The ship began to drift slightly, as if losing power. Beautiful, Marcus said. Rita, send them a distress signal. Tell them our reactor is failing. Tell them we're dead in the water. Then slowly they began to approach. They're coming, Chen said. They want to capture us alive. 300. They're within range, David said. Not yet, Marcus said. Wait until they're all in the blast radius. We only get 1 shot at this. The Valorian ships surrounded the dead weight, weapons trained on the seemingly helpless cruiser. Now, Marcus said quietly, fire everything. They shot out in different directions, each programmed to hit a specific target. The plasma cannons fired next, targeting the nearest ship's shield generators. The Valorians tried to react, but they were too close to each other, too focused on their prey. The missiles struck home, detonating against hulls and shields. One ship's reactor breached immediately. Another lost all power and began drifting. The third ship, damaged but still operational, turned to flee. Railgun charged, David said. Fire, Marcus ordered. The railgun spoke again. The shot caught the fleeing ship in the engines. It didn't explode, but it stopped moving, dead in space. Silence fell over the bridge. On the view screen, debris floated through the asteroid field. 3 Valorian ships destroyed or disabled. Did we win? Yuki asked quietly. Marcus checked the sensors. No more enemy ships, no more threats. Yeah, he said, allowing himself to smile. We won. We finally fought back. Reactor is at 30% and falling. Hull integrity is at 45%. Life support is failing. Everyone looked at Marcus. We're not going to make it, are we? Rita said quietly. Marcus looked at the star charts. Coalition space was so close, but not close enough. We need to get into cryo, he said. All of you. It'll slow your metabolism, buy us time. You'll need an engineer to keep this bucket of bolts flying. Marcus shook it. Thank you, Marcus Chen, for everything. Think we can make it. What is that? The dreadnought was enormous, at least 2 kilometers long. Its hull was covered in weapon batteries and shield generators. Next to it, the dead weight looked like a child's toy. "How long until it reaches us?" Marcus asked, his voice tight. Sarah checked the calculations. "At their current speed, 4 hours, maybe 5 if we're lucky. That thing will catch us in less than an hour if we try to flee. What if we don't run? And we have, what, 1 railgun shot, maybe 2 missiles left. Just 4 hours. We can send a signal to coalition space. But I can open it now that we have power." Sarah stood up. "Come with me, you need to see this." The dreadnought was still 4 hours away, but he felt like he could already feel its presence, like a predator's eyes watching in the dark. The vault door hissed and opened with a grinding sound. Inside was a data core, a massive computer storage unit covered in Valorian symbols. "What is it?" Marcus asked. "Everything," Sarah said quietly. "Names, locations, transactions, 47 years of Valorian slave trafficking records. We copied it before we escaped. Every human they've ever taken, every colony they've raided, every buyer they've sold to. It's all here. But you can. They'll save everyone. It'll take an hour to send the full package, but once it starts, they'll know where we are. Now we just need to stay alive for 4 hours. Human vessel, I am Commander Thelax of the Dreadnought Eternal Dominion. You have destroyed 4 of my ships. You have killed my warriors. For this, you will suffer before you die. You're not getting us, and you're not getting this ship. I will even allow you to serve as slaves. You are too useful to waste. And humans don't surrender. And then I will take your bodies and display them as a warning to others. Anger wouldn't save them, strategy would. We need a plan," Marcus said, "a real one, not just hiding and hoping. What if we use that against it? If it fires its main weapons in an asteroid field, the shockwaves could cause a chain reaction. Asteroids colliding with asteroids. It might damage itself. But we need to buy time for the transmission to complete. How much longer? We need power. This is Lieutenant Marcus Chen, formerly of the Coalition Navy. I am transmitting critical data about Valorian slave operations. 10,000 human captives need rescue. If anyone can hear this, we need help. Our position is." Then he repeated the message and set it to broadcast automatically every 5 minutes. "Come on," Marcus whispered. "Someone has to be listening." Marcus could see details now. Gun ports opening, shields powering up, scanner arrays sweeping the asteroid field. Sarah's voice came over the internal comm. "Reactor is at 25%. I've redirected all non-essential power. We have engines and weapons." "That's it." Marcus weaved between asteroids, staying just ahead of the dreadnought's weapon range. Twice, the enemy ship fired, but the shots went wide, exploding against rocks instead of the dead weight. "Transmission 60% complete," Sarah reported. "Keep going." A plasma blast shot past the dead weight, close enough that Marcus felt the heat through the shields. Another blast hit their rear shields, draining them to 0. "Rear shields gone," Sarah shouted. "I know." Marcus pulled the ship into a tight spiral around a cluster of asteroids. The dreadnought tried to follow but had to slow down to avoid collision. "Transmission 75%, Sarah said. 15 more minutes. Let them think they lost us. I always find my prey." The dead weight shot out from behind the asteroid, heading in the opposite direction. "They've spotted us," Sarah warned. "Good," Marcus said. "Let them chase." Marcus dodged and weaved, but he couldn't avoid everything. A blast hit their port side, tearing a hole in the hull. "Hull breach on Deck 3, Sarah shouted, "sealing emergency bulkheads." Then another. The ship was shaking apart. Alarms were screaming. The view screen was filled with warning messages, but Marcus kept flying. "Transmission 95%. 98%. The Coalition has everything." Someone needs to make sure they don't board us and destroy that data." Then Sarah's voice came back, thick with emotion. "Thank you, Marcus Chen, for everything." The dreadnought filled his vision, weapons charging for a final shot. Then something appeared on the long-range sensors. Multiple contacts, coming in fast, very fast. Marcus zoomed in and felt his heart leap. Ships, human ships. Coalition warships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Not just one or two, 12 ships, cruisers, destroyers, and one massive carrier. The cavalry had arrived. Marcus opened a channel to the Coalition fleet. "This is Marcus Chen. Boy, am I glad to see you guys. We've got you." You. Within minutes, the dreadnought's shields failed. Its weapons went offline. The mighty Eternal Dominion, terror of the slave trade, hung dead in space. "Lieutenant Chen," Captain Morrison said, "we're sending a boarding team to your location. Medical assistance is on the way." "How many survivors?" He slumped in the pilot's chair, exhausted but alive. Through the viewscreen he could see the stars. Somewhere out there in 200 systems, 10,000 humans waited in slavery. But not for long, not anymore. The hunt was over. And this time, humanity was the hunter. 3 days later, Marcus Chen stood in the medical bay of the Coalition ship Valiant. Around him, doctors and nurses moved between beds where the 6 survivors from the dead weight were recovering. They were still thin and pale, but color was returning to their faces. Real food and proper medical care were working miracles. Sarah Valk sat up in her bed, arguing with a doctor about being released early. "I'm fine," she insisted. "I've survived worse than low oxygen and malnutrition." "You can rest. They're planning rescue operations across 200 systems. The Admiral wants to see you." "Not yet," Marcus said with a grin. He followed the officer through the ship's corridors. The Valiant was huge, 10 times the size of the dead weight. Crew members passed him in both directions, all of them busy with their duties. Some of them stared at Marcus as he walked by. He was already becoming famous, the man who bought a cursed ship and found human slaves inside. The officer led him to the Admiral's office and knocked. A voice from inside said, "Enter." Maps covered the walls, showing Coalition space and beyond. Behind a desk sat Admiral Patricia Okonkwo, a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes and graying hair. "Lieutenant Chen," she said, "sit down." The Admiral studied him for a long moment. "You've caused quite a stir, Lieutenant, or should I say, former Lieutenant. Your commander told you to abandon civilians because the mission was too dangerous. You went in anyway, saved 43 people, lost half your squad doing it. Said you couldn't be trusted to follow orders." The Admiral leaned forward. "I call you a hero." "You were worried about people." The Admiral smiled slightly. "The Coalition Navy needs more officers like you, not fewer. You're being reinstated with full rank and honors, effective immediately. It's the most significant intelligence breakthrough in Coalition history. We've identified 10,312 human captives. We know where they are. We know who's holding them. And we're going to get them back. All of them. That's 200 systems. It'll take years. Its sole mission is to locate and rescue every human in captivity. Some of the alien governments will cooperate once they realize we're serious. Others will resist. We'll deal with them accordingly. Humanity tried being peaceful and diplomatic. Look where it got us, 10,000 slaves scattered across the galaxy." She turned back to Marcus. "We're done being prey, Lieutenant. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when you take one of ours. I'm assigning you command of a ship in the recovery fleet," the Admiral said. "Your choice of vessel from our available inventory. We have better ships available." "Very well, the dead weight is yours. We'll repair it and upgrade it to current Coalition standards, but you'll need a crew. They know how to survive against impossible odds, and they have more reason to fight than anyone else in the fleet." Besides, Sarah Volk is the best engineer I've ever seen. Give her proper tools and resources, and she'll make the dead wait better than new. And they all pass psychological evaluation. 47 years of slavery leave scars. I need to know they can handle combat situations. Use that time to get your crew trained and prepared. Your first mission will be to recover a group of humans from a mining colony in the Thedos system. Intelligence suggests 43 captives there. The same number he'd saved in the mission that got him discharged. That's poetic. As he reached the door, the Admiral called out one more time. Chen, those 6 people you found on the dead weight, they survived because they never gave up hope. They believed humanity would find them someday. Make sure that belief wasn't misplaced. Sarah and the others threw themselves into the work with fierce determination. They studied tactics, weapons, navigation, and combat procedures. They trained until they couldn't stand, then got up and trained more. The dead weight transformed under Sarah's supervision. Coalition engineers wanted to gut the ship and rebuild it from scratch. Sarah refused. Instead, she worked with them to preserve the ship's core while upgrading everything else. New engines, new weapons, new shields, new life support systems. The ship kept its name but gained a subtitle, Second Chance. On the day of their launch, Marcus stood on the bridge with his crew around him. Sarah was his first officer now, officially ranked as lieutenant commander. David handled weapons, Chen managed defense systems, Rita ran communications, Yuki piloted, and Marcus Webb served as their intelligence officer. All systems green, Sarah reported. Ready for departure on your command, Captain. But he was determined to earn it. Before we launch, Marcus said, I want to say something. 3 months ago, I bought this ship for 500 credits. I thought I was getting scrap metal. Instead, I found something more valuable. I found you. I found purpose. I found proof that humans don't break, no matter what the universe throws at us. To rescue our people and bring them home. To show the galaxy that when you take one human, you take on all of humanity. All of them. Its engines glowed bright blue as it accelerated into the darkness of space. Behind them, 11 other ships of the recovery fleet followed. Ahead of them, 10,000 humans waited in slavery, not knowing that rescue was coming. But Marcus knew. His crew knew. The coalition knew. The hunt had begun. And this time, humanity was not the prey. 6 months later, the Second Chance returned to coalition space with 43 rescued humans from the Thedos mining colony. 3 months after that, they rescued 67 more from a factory planet. 6 months after that, 112 from a farming world. The rescues continued. One mission at a time, one system at a time, one human at a time. Some alien governments surrendered captives peacefully after seeing coalition power. Others fought and lost. A few tried to hide their human slaves. The recovery fleet found them anyway. Sarah Volk proved to be a brilliant tactical officer. Her understanding of how prey thinks helped them plan rescue operations that saved lives and avoided unnecessary conflict. David became known as the deadliest gunner in the fleet. The others earned their own reputations. And Marcus Chen, the man who bought a ship nobody wanted, became known as the captain who never left anyone behind. 5 years after that first mission, Marcus stood on the bridge of the Second Chance and received a transmission from the Admiral. Captain Chen, I'm pleased to inform you that as of this morning, we've successfully recovered the last known human captive from the Valorian slave network. 10,312 souls, all accounted for, all free, all coming home. Thank you, Admiral. What are our new orders? With respect, Admiral, Marcus said, we'd like to stay out here. There might be other humans out there we don't know about, other lost colonies, other situations. We'd like to keep looking. The Second Chance is cleared for extended patrol. Bring them home, Chen. Bring them all home. Yuki, Marcus said, plot a course for the frontier. Let's see who else needs finding. And Marcus Chen, former nobody, former failure, smiled. He'd bought a ship nobody wanted. Inside, he discovered that humanity's greatest strength wasn't weapons or technology or even intelligence. It was the refusal to give up, the determination to protect each other, the absolute certainty that no human would be left behind, no matter the cost, no matter the distance, no matter the odds. That was what humanity was.